Well, hello. I'm glad you could join me on the trail this morning. I'm out for a walk on the Cocosing Gap Trail outside of Mount Vernon, and I'm heading towards Gambier. It's a brisk morning, but a great morning to walk. So I thought I'd take a few minutes and share something with you, and I hope you can stay in and give it a listen. So I'm going to talk about getting lost. I know we all think getting lost is not the best thing in the world. And there are many ways we can get lost in life. Just about a month ago, I was out shopping, Christmas shopping. I walked into Ikea for lunch. I know, Ikea for lunch, but guess what? In today's economy, that Swedish meatball or salmon lunch is cheaper than McDonald's or Burger King. Anyway, I had my lunch and I wasn't interested in shopping. I didn't want to participate in that Swedish experiment of finding my way through the rat maze. So I walked down the steps, decided to take shortcuts. Well, we all know what happens in Ikea when you get off that defined path of arrows. I soon found myself wandering through the maze of products with names that were somehow jumbled combinations of vowels and consonants. And I did find myself way out. And I was happy. It wasn't like a traumatizing experience. Anyway, it got me thinking about being lost when I'm on my bike and on a bike trail or on a road. And sometimes we frame those as being not good experiences. Let's face it, when you're lost, it just always seems to be the end of that day. That day when it was 90 degrees with 90% humidity and your jersey's sweat soaked and clinging to your skin. It's that day when all you really want to do is get to that hotel or your next destination, enjoy a shower, and basically relax. And we all know, this is almost universally true, that when you got lost, you turned into that headwind, that never-ending headwind. And right in front of you, the dark clouds were coming in. You had hoped that they would somehow magically be going the other way, but they're not. And alas, you are lost. But let's think about some joys of being lost. I'm a person who's very analytical and a person who plans a lot. Almost all of my bike tours, well, I would say all of them, are in ride with GPS. They're loaded on my Garmin, on my bike, and they give me turn-by-turn directions. Something that I love, right? But for one reason or another, I find myself lost. I guess I won't go into those details why I'm lost, but I was lost. And one thing I find that when I'm lost, I'm actually setting out to do what I said I wanted to do on a bike tour. For me, a bike tour is not about the start and the end, but it is about what happens in between, the people, places, and experiences I have. Well, I can surely tell you that getting lost exposes you to a lot of experiences, more adventurous experiences than staying on the beaten path. And you end up seeing things. Maybe it's something simple as a gas station. I've had great experience at a gas station. It could also be something like being in a diner with people. One thing you always seem to find when you're lost is someone to help you, a trail angel. And an observation that I have about being lost is that people are more apt to talk to you when you're solo rather than when you're in a group. And that interaction is very revealing. Those people are willing to share a lot about their background, where they live, and how they're living. And that's something you wouldn't get any other way. So think about that. How many people have you experienced when you needed to find your way? The second point I'd like to make is that when you're lost, it forces you to rethink how you got lost and use your personal resources to find your way. And isn't this about discovery? Isn't this a great thing about being lost? And that leads to my next point is when you're lost on a bike tour, and this is true of being lost with any other obstacle you encounter on a bike tour, it leads to a story. Okay, if you know me, you know that I'm full of stories, and I love to tell stories. I love memories and share memories. Well, finding your way after getting lost is one of those stories, because sometimes it's not the easiest way, and sometimes it wasn't a good experience, but in the end you got found and it was an achievement, right? So those are three things that I just would like to highlight, and I encourage you to tell me what are some good things about being lost when you're out riding your bike. I think I'll close this by sharing one of my lost stories that I like. I was cycling Switzerland, Germany, and Austria around Lake Constance. I think that's about 200 something kilometers. And pretty flat, mostly on trail or quiet roads through a lot of little villages. And this particular day, we had left Bregenz, Austria, and headed into Switzerland. Took a cogway up into the Appenzell, and as the name implies, it was a very Swiss experience with great views. And then we had about 15, 20 miles to cycle into a large city, St. Gallen. It was an afternoon of beautiful views. A lot of hills, a lot of challenges, but as I said earlier, it was getting late in the day, and we were ready for that challenge and that day to end. We followed our cue sheet. We made a right where we were supposed to. We were told that we would cross a very high level scenic bridge and find a bike trail that would take us into St. Gallen. Well, we made that right, and many miles later, and a pretty substantial climb, we took out our phones and looked on Google Maps, and sure enough, we had made the wrong turn. Retracing was a pretty interesting exercise. You have 5 people with 5 versions of how to be found. We looked at a lot of resources. We found ourselves in a Swiss farmer's driveway being admonished, but we did find our way to St. Gallen. It ended up being a wonderful day. The city of St. Gallen is absolutely beautiful. It was the time of their annual St. Gallen Fest, and it is a memory that I share. So one thing I wanted to mention is that the Ohio to Erie Trail is sponsoring a winter webinar series again. And on January 25th, they will host one on how not to get lost on the Ohio to Erie Trail. Because I can assure you, as president of the trail, I don't want you to be lost on the trail. I want you to be on the trail and experience the trail fully. So I'd encourage you to head on over to the Ohio to Erie Trail website, and you will find the details of registering and viewing that webinar. You can also find it on the Ohio to Erie Trail Facebook page. If you are watching this after January 25th, 2023, you will find the webinar on our YouTube channel. So just go to Ohio to Erie Trail YouTube channel, and you'll find some channels for winter webinar series. If you enjoyed this, I encourage you to follow my blogs. I'll be talking quite a bit about trails, cycling on trails, cycling in general, and bicycle touring. You can find that blog on the Ohio to Erie Trail website under News and Events, and it's the President's blog. You can also find it on Substack, where I write with the publication Tom on the Trail. So I encourage you, as always, get out on that trail. And if you're lost, think about what I shared today. And I'll say this, that once you are lost, you will always remember how you were found. Happy trails until we see you again. Tom on the Trail.